Welcome in to the Standard. It's a very special edition of this podcast here. Thursday Night Football preview, Steelers versus Bengals. This game is very exciting. This game has a lot of potential for both sides. Steelers come in red hot, 4-1, riding high. In come the Cincinnati Bengals, who, let's face it, ever since Joe Burrow got hurt, their season has been doomed. They trade for Joe Flacco. Mike Tomlin's pissed off about it, and now he has to play him on Thursday Night Football. Jack, how are we feeling about this game?
I would say I'm feeling it maybe better than most. I'm not 100% confident given that Mike Tomlin has literally never beaten a divisional team on the road on Thursday Night Football. It just feels like such a trap spot. But, it's a different team. Aaron Rodgers is a different quarterback than the guys we've had. I think the defense is a little bit improved. So, I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up that Mike Tomlin is not very good on Thursday night. In fact, some stats for you guys. Since 1970, Pittsburgh Steelers are 0-8 all time on Thursday Night Football against divisional opponents. Big stat for my friend Owen. Even better, under Mike Tomlin, the Steelers are 9-11 overall on Thursday Night Football since Tomlin was hired. So the stats completely go against everything that, should go right for the Steelers in this. And this is a game where the Steelers are, I think everybody would agree, the better team. They've shown more this season. They have more pieces. They have a more complete defense. I'd argue a more complete offense at this point, just because they have a decent quarterback. But it feels like the least obvious Mike Tomlin trap game of all time. And I know some people don't like to say, Mike Tomlin, he doesn't have trap games. He just, every coach slips up and, falls to these guys. The Mike Tomlin trap game is very, very real. And it's going to happen at some point. I have a feeling this just feels like the most obvious spot. Some people thought it would be last week against the Cleveland Browns. And I think it's a good sign that we didn't trip up and we beat Cleveland by multiple possessions last weekend. But at the same time, that just makes this one circled more to me as a trap game. Am I correct in feeling this way, Jack?
I agree with you. I was going to say almost to the point that it feels like such an obvious trap game that people are starting to catch on to this trend that it's almost like an inverse trap game. Like there's part of me that thinks like this won't even be close and we're going to beat the hell out of them. But I'm probably wrong. It probably will be close. It's so tough because it feels like this is just like last year against Cleveland. Everybody went into them, though we actually lost that game. I was going to say everybody predicted a trap game there. We lost that game. Maybe not. It's going to be a slugfest for absolutely no reason. It will be.
Don't get me wrong. I feel like the even playing field, if I have no bias, if I go in blind knowledge, you give me these teams blind resume, I'm like, oh yeah, Steelers are winning this easy. Like this isn't even going to be close. But I've seen this team fall too many times, particularly on Thursday Night Football. You and I attended one of those classic Mike Tomlin trap games a couple years ago. Do you know what I'm referencing? Steelers
I
Patriots.
Definitely do.
Bailey Zappi 3-touchdown performance beat Mitch Trubisky on the infamous 4th and 2 Hail Mary to Deontay play. I don't even that play, obviously awful. There were about 20 other terrible plays in that game from the defense. I remember DeMonte KZ, Steelers legend, Steelers alumni. He was awful that game. Absolutely dreadful. Bailey Zappi owned him.
Here's the thing. It may have been Bailey Zappi in that game, which, listen, I know is horrible. But that game we were starting Amazon workers at linebacker. We still were subjected to watching DeMonte KZ play, correct? We were starting Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, and he was throwing the ball to Deontay Johnson. So, in the sense that, yes, it's a similar type of feeling. Like, we are obviously the better team. We were the better team. We played the Pats that year. But we're different in a lot of ways. Like I said earlier, the defense is definitely way better than that game, particularly. I don't know if I'd say way better than it was last year when we lost to Cleveland, but I'd say it was a little bit improved, and I would take Aaron Rodgers over Russell Wilson, so I guess that's the part of me that's like, maybe this will be different this time. But,
I agree with you that I think this Steelers team I think it's much improved from when they had Mitch Trubisky playing quarterback. I think it's probably slightly improved, at least the offense a little bit. The defense, probably a little bit better, just as good as last year. I think that's still yet to be seen. They've been playing out of their minds the last couple of weeks. But that game gives me severe PTSD because, of course, I attended, and there was insane traffic going into Pittsburgh that night. And the train that I usually take at this parking garage I park at, it's on 5th and Penn. I always park there for games, and I go to the train, and there's a big fight on one of the trains because there's too many people trying to get on, and these two grown men get in a fist fight, and they stop the train, and they're not running the train anymore. So I'm like, shit, it's 20 minutes to kick off, and I have like a mile and a half to the stadium. So I have to run. I have to run to make it in time. I finally get in. Finally find Jack, Thad, and Owen. Not our buddy Owen, our real buddy Owen.
Our real buddy Owen.
And Bailey Zappi had already drove down the field and threw a touchdown. And that's when I knew it was just not my night. From the beginning, the gods were trying to tell me.
The signs were certainly there.
It was over. So forgive me if I'm pessimistic looking at this game, because it just feels like I've played these games before. And the spread is Steelers 5.5, which on the road, that's a pretty big spread. I get the Bengals are really bad, but Mike Tomlin doesn't seem to think that. Mike Tomlin is absolutely furious that he has to play against Joe Flacco, calling out Andrew Berry, calling him a dumbass, basically, in the nicest way possible, saying, why are you trading Joe Flacco to a division rival who is someone that you viewed as a week 1 starter just several weeks ago? And let me tell you what, Mike Tomlin's objectively right. He's right. I mean, I don't know what the Browns were doing with all of those quarterbacks, particularly trying to trot Joe Flacco out there for a couple of weeks. But they trade him to the Bengals, obviously, and I think it makes the Bengals a lot better. They actually looked like not completely, somewhat competent, I'd say, against Green Bay. Green Bay's a really good football team, and we have them next week on Sunday Night Football. But I don't know. I think the Bengals definitely get a big bump from Joe Flacco. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to not be an improvement over Jake Browning. He played like 3 of the worst football games I've ever seen from a quarterback. Yeah, I agree with you that Tomlin's right, but at the same time, it screams to me that he's just like pissed off and scared that he has to play Joe Flacco on Thursday Night Football now, and I feel like it's a bad look. You should be acting like you don't care that you have to play against Joe Flacco, and that you're confident in your $1 million defense or $1 trillion defense's ability to shut him down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's definitely not a good look. I agree with you that Tomlin is so upset about having to play Flacco. But to be fair, nobody
40-year-old Joe Flacco.
It's got to be the oldest combined age of starting quarterbacks in a Thursday night football game. I think it is. It has to be. Rodgers 41. Is Flacco 40? Is Flacco younger than Aaron Rodgers?
40. Yeah,
that's crazy. But it just feels like this game, it just worries me. Again, I'm sorry if I'm pessimistic looking at this one. We'll get to our game picks in a little bit, but it feels like Joe Flacco, he gives the Bengals a big bump. Let me put it this way, guys. Joe Flacco got into the game against the Steelers last season. No quarterback in the NFL right now has more experience against the Steelers than Joe Flacco. He gets into the game as a member of the Indianapolis Colts, and he throws 2 touchdowns, and the Colts win that football game. I don't remember Joe Flacco being particularly like dicing us up that game. I think he had 150 yards passing, a little bit over. I looked it up earlier, but I know he threw 2 touchdowns in that game.
He did. I remember vividly the defense getting fried by Anthony Richardson on the first 2 possessions and just being like, yeah, this is not going to go well, is it? They did actually almost win that game, but yeah, Joe Flacco just historically has had the Steelers' number, even when in games that the team that Joe Flacco plays for just should not beat the Steelers. Oftentimes they do. And listen, if I'm Tomlin, obviously I'm not happy that it's Joe Flacco and instead of Jake Browning, but I'm probably not going to go out there and make it look like I'm not happy that I have to play Joe Flacco.
Mike Tomlin, he like really respects the Bengals, I think, if nothing else. He loves T. Higgins. Like, I think he actually might be in love with T. Higgins. Every time they're going to play the Bengals, I always hear in this press conference, he calls T Mr. Higgins. He's like, when you're going up against the likes of Mr. Higgins, you must be prepared. You know, I don't know why. Like, T. Higgins, obviously awesome receiver, but like the Bengals have probably a top 2 receiver in the NFL in Jamar Chase. I still think Jefferson's better. And the praise always goes to T. Higgins. Always, no matter what. And T. Higgins could be in a position to have a big game. This is the game, in my opinion, where the Steelers will see if their offseason additions paid off. Jalen Ramsey, you're going to have him matched up against Jamar Chase, presumably. You're going to have some combination of Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr. going up against T. Higgins, of course, Mr. Higgins, as Mike Tomlin would call him. And this is where you're going to know whether or not those moves are really going to make a difference. Because let me tell you what, if Joe Flacco is going to do one thing, he's going to air that bitch out. All right. He's going to throw the ball down the field to Jamar Chase, and he's going to throw the ball down the field to T. Higgins. This is where the Steelers are going to know very quickly if those moves paid off, if they're going to be worthwhile. And obviously, Jalen Ramsey's been used as like kind of the chess piece of that defense, 2 sacks last weekend. But this is where this is a make or break game for the Steelers secondary as far as the way I view them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Steelers' path to winning or even so dominating this game would be to just get to the quarterback, because Joe Flacco is such a statue, and it gets to the point in his career where he's afraid to get hit. And so, like, I'm saying maybe Herbig over Highsmith from the majority of the game. The Bengals have shown literally zero ability all season to run the ball. I mean, Chase Brown's averaging like 2 yards a carry. If they get to the quarterback, which they should, because they have 3 of the best pass rushers in football on their team rushing off the edge, and combined with, guys like obviously Cam Hayward, obviously Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton's awesome at rushing the passer. Just can't defend the run. If they're able to use those guys to get to the quarterback, I don't see a way that Joe Flacco is going to be able to air the ball out, which is what he always wants to do. But if you can stop him from doing what he wants to do, then I think that's your course of winning this game.
This even seems like the kind of game where you're licking your chops if you're the Steelers, because it's an old quarterback. They don't really have much going in the way of defense, which we'll get into in a little bit. But the Steelers should be able to get to the quarterback in this one. You have 3 more than quality edge rushers on your team. Nick Herbig is blossoming into one of the best edge rushers in football, and that's not an exaggeration to say at this point. This is the type of matchup the Steelers dream of, right? You're playing an old quarterback. They don't have much defense. You're going to be able to kind of control the clock. You're not going to have to do an exorbitant amount on offense, I'd assume, because you trust your $1 trillion defense, and you're putting the faith in Jalen Ramsey. You're putting the faith in Joey Porter Jr. and in Darius Slay to hold up their end of the bargain, because if they're not, that's where you're going to get in serious trouble in this one. If Joe Flacco's able to actually stretch the field, man, it's going to be a long day. I got PTSD from last year when he was on the Colts. That's going to be the key to this one. And it feels like a perfect matchup for the Steelers. It really, really does, because defensively for the Bengals, they have nothing. They truly have nothing. Going into this season, Logan Wilson was probably their second best defender on that team. I'd say he's gotten straight up benched for a 6th-round rookie. He has gotten straight up benched for him. This defense is pathetic all around. And I know I said last podcast that the Steelers' offense has been playing good. They're asking Aaron Rodgers to do pretty much everything. It's very one-dimensional, it feels like. They run the least amount of stuff of anybody in the league. It's a very vanilla, plain offense. Run the football. Maybe we'll take a deep shot. Probably not. We'll take those quick routes, and we'll try to get our guys in space. This feels like the perfect matchup for them. Again, it just feels like the Steelers have the advantage at every single corner, but yet I'm terrified. I'm terrified.
Yeah, like you said, the only way the Steelers lose this game is if they let Jamar Chase and T. Higgins get cooking and they allow Flacco to throw the ball down the field, which again is what he's going to want to do. But I mean, it's such a mismatch. It's just about every other aspect of the sport that, like, it feels like there is literally no chance that this Bengals team can actually win this game, which is kind of the issue. Every time it feels like that, they find some way, or the Steelers find some way to lose the game, which I'm hoping doesn't happen because the team is different than it has been in the past. But can never be too sure.
We'll bring it back. We'll be positive here. Let's say the Steelers do win this game. They take care of business again. It's a similar type of game to against Cleveland. They win by 2 possessions, maybe not 2 possessions. Let's say they win by 10 points, comfortably on the road, cover the spread. They're 5-1 going into a really, really big game against the Green Bay Packers. How do we view this team? Do we view them as like legitimate AFC contenders just because they're not losing to inferior divisional opponents? Because that's another element in this one, is divisional games in the NFL are incredibly difficult to predict, especially ones on the road, even where the Steelers have won a lot of games recently in Paycor. I believe the last 13 matchups, the Steelers have won 10 of them. So they've really owned the Bengals in their own house. So I guess, how much does this game change your perspective of the Steelers?
If they win this game, listen, I'm not going to be here throwing a parade if we beat the Joe Burrow-less Bengals on Thursday Night Football. But it is fair to point out that the Steelers always struggle in games like this that they should win. And the fact that it might be a little bit different this year if we're actually able to handle business against both the Browns and the Bengals easily. I feel like that's a good sign, because at least in recent years, games like this where you're hot, you're going into play a far inferior team, and you come out and you lose, and it's just like, well, shit. Like I said, it's not something to be like, holy shit, we're gonna win the Super Bowl if we beat the Bengals on the road on Thursday Night Football. But at the same time, I would think it's definitely a good sign.
I mean, I agree with you in the fact that it is huge if we know that, hey, we're not tripping up to these divisional opponents, at least at this early point in the year, because Baltimore's 1-5. They're going into the bye. Steelers need to stack those wins as quickly as they can, because the schedule gets really, really tough. After this game against the Bengals, they play the Packers, Colts, and Chargers 3 consecutive weeks. Those are 3 very tough games and could all very well be L's at the end of the day. So we could be looking at this team 3 weeks from now as either a 5-4 football team. They could be a team with a losing record if they lose this game. This feels like a really pivotal game for the Steelers, because it doesn't get any easier. The back half of that schedule again for the Steelers is really, really tough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that you absolutely have to handle business. Listen, I think those 3 upcoming games are tough, but at the same time, I don't think they're like unwinnable.
Yeah, they're winnable.
I feel like we should, at least if we get swept in those 3 games, we'll be canceling the season. There's literally no chance we're winning a playoff game if we lose to all 3 of those teams. But yeah, if you lose this game, it might be a worse sign than losing to all 3 of those teams. So hopefully the Steelers can handle business tomorrow and do what they should do.
So I'll ask you this: the tight end room. Who has the most catches of all of the Steelers tight ends tomorrow? We're going to have to update our tight end rankings, our tight end room power rankings after this game. Feels like some big shakeups occur every week.
Yeah, you might as well just put the 4 names on a wheel and spin it. There's literally no way of predicting, but for the sake of fun, I'll say Jonnu.
I was also going to say Jonnu. I'm telling you what, I'm not fucking picking Pat Freiermuth.
No, I'm not either.
He may have a catch. Maybe not.
Might.
Connor Hayward might have more yards than him, again, at this rate. Who scores a touchdown for the Steelers? Any advice to our loyal listeners out there who maybe want to take an anytime touchdown bet?
I mean, I think DK is always a good bet. I mean, I think if I were to place 2, I would say DK and Warren seem like the obvious picks. If you want like an obscure one, I'll give you Mount Washington. Maybe they go with another like little fade to him on like the 2-yard line, which they should do more.
They should do more. I agree. I will go Kenneth Gainwell scoring a touchdown tomorrow.
I like that.
Kenneth Gainwell. I think he's going to lead this team in touchdowns by the end of the season. I just think he is.
That would just be hilarious. Games. Like, imagine we win the division and Kenneth Gainwell is the leader in touchdowns.
It would be wonderful. It would truly be awesome. All right. We'll get into game picks here. Jack, who wins? Steelers, Bengals, Thursday Night Football. Mike Tomlin, Zach Taylor, the matchup.
Listen, I picked the Browns to beat the Steelers last week, so I'm not going to continue the pessimistic character. I'm going to say the Steelers win 28-17.
All right. You're a better man than me. I am picking the classic Mike Tomlin trap game. I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning 24-21 over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Joe Flacco might give us issues. I just have a feeling, again, I really, really hope I'm wrong. I hope that I can come on here tomorrow and say, hey, you're an idiot. You were wrong. This team's 5-1. Spirits we're looking up. We're looking good. But man, as I said earlier, I've played these games before, and I don't like the way they look. I can't get by the fact that this team is 0-8 against divisional opponents on Thursday Night Football. As much as they've owned the Bengals in Paycor Stadium, Mike Tomlin struggles on Thursday night, particularly against division opponents. He's never beaten a divisional opponent on Thursday Night Football. I worry that streak might continue. It just feels like the Steelers are due for one of these. They really, really are. And this team is arguably a Caleb Johnson knowing the rules of football away from being 5-0 at this point. But they have some holes that I can poke in them. As I've mentioned, I don't know. Something's got to give here soon. I'm really getting hopeful, and I don't like it. I was incredibly hopeful last year. We had a whole episode talking about how we should enjoy this because this is the best Steelers team since the Killer Bees era. Do you remember that episode?
I definitely remember after the Commanders game.
It came all crashing down after that. Let me tell you what. It was over.
That game-winning touchdown to Mike Williams was like the high of like the last 3 years.
That was
not good.
And you know, the Steelers need a wide receiver too. Have you heard that one before? Let me just say this: temper your expectations, because we needed one last year at the deadline, and the solution was Mike Williams. We were 7-2 or something at the deadline, I think, and we traded for Mike Williams and Preston Smith.
Preston Smith, oh my God!
Shout out!
What was that all about?
I don't know how much he even played. Very little, I know that. So, Jacoby Myers may or may not be available.
Please.
Chris Olave may or may not be available.
I would be throwing
Jacoby
the greatest
Myers
party
guy.
in the history of Instagram if we trade for Jacoby Myers. I've been screaming about this for like months. He requested a trade before the season too, and the dickhead Raiders are like, "Oh no, we're not trading you." And now they're
I think I'd like Jacoby Myers because he's not someone that like you have to like overly commit yourself to. I think. I don't feel like he's going to command like some insane contract if you do want to extend him after you trade for him. I think he's a good compliment to DK. That would be nice. Chris Olave, I know we were talking a little bit about him before this podcast. I think Chris Olave is probably a little bit better of a receiver, but I don't know how good Chris Olave actually is. I feel like he's a lot more of a vertical threat than like a target hog, I'd say. Kind of very similar. Which is
funny because this year he like is just funny because this year he like has like he's like top 5 in the NFL in targets.
I know it's weird.
It's nuts. It makes no sense.
The usage never makes sense in New Orleans, and again, don't know what they're doing. But if any of those guys are available, I would like if the Steelers made a big move like that. But all I'm going to say is temper your expectations because I don't expect much. I really, really don't expect much at the deadline. Wouldn't surprise me if we roll with Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin as wide receiver too. All right. That'll conclude our preview. We will go into, we're going to pick some spreads in this one. We did this a little bit last year, and we're going to do it for this year. We are going to pick the spread winners for every single one of the Sunday games. Do we want it? Yeah, we'll pick the Steelers spread. That's fine. We'll do that. All right. I will get my notes app pulled up.
Perfect.
And we have this. So, Steelers Bengals. Steelers -5.5 in this one. I already gave my prediction. I think that the Bengals are going to win this game outright, so I will take Cincinnati +5.5.
And I gave my prediction, and I went on the complete opposite side. I think the Steelers are going to handle them, so I will take Steelers -5.
All right. London game, 9:30 a.m. Who's waking up for this one?
God.
Actually, a good game. Rams, Jaguars. The spread is Rams -3.
This one's so ugly.
I know. I'm assuming they're without Puka.
I am as well.
I'm assuming. I don't know.
I'm going to take the Jags. If they're without Puka, I don't think the Rams are going to be able to get it going on offense as much as they have been.
This is a home game for the Jags. All right. Patriots are 7-point favorites against the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Interim head coach bump? Question mark?
Yeah, this one's weird. Like, the Pats look so good. Just like 2 weeks ago, beat the Bills on the road, who were the Super Bowl favorites at the time. The Titans looked like the worst team to ever step on a football field. So I'm going to take the Titans +7.
I agree with you. I'm also going to take the interim head coach bump. I don't know if there's any science behind it, but it is real. The Titans feel maybe not due for a win, but they're due to cover something. And I don't think the Patriots are as good as everybody's making them out to be. They have a cakewalk of a schedule. They will walk their way to 10 wins if they play like they have the last couple of weeks. It is that easy moving forward for them. This one's really weird. Panthers at Jets. Panthers are 1.5-point favorites in the Meadowlands.
This one's the 0-6 Jets.
Owen.
Basically playing an even money game against a team that has looked real good recently. Oh, God. I'll take the Jets, Jets to get their first win of the season.
I agree with you. I think this is where they get their first win. This is where they mess up their draft pick, and they get that pivotal win against the Carolina Panthers. Good for them. Maybe Rico Dowdle comes back to earth and doesn't run for 200 yards this game. Eagles at Vikings. The spread is Philadelphia -1.5. JJ McCarthy did practice today. Your guy.
Yes. This is another weird one because I don't know. I just don't think the Eagles are very good, but this also feels like a game. It feels like a game that they're going to win. And if they're going to win, they're probably going to win by a field goal. So I'll take the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm also pretty easily taking the Eagles in this one. If JJ McCarthy is starting, I think he's the worst starter in the NFL right now, and I don't think it's really close. I'll take the Eagles in this one.
Whoa!
Big bounce back spot for Philly in this one. I mean, who's worse right now? Who's worse?
I'd like to think that JJ McCarthy's better than Dylan Gabriel.
Oh yeah, I guess.
But,
well, congratulations. JJ McCarthy is the 31st best starter. I don't know.
We'll see tonight.
We will see.
Yeah, technically tonight, yes.
We will see. This one's hilarious. Raiders at Chiefs. Chiefs are -11.5.
Feels like it should be more.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the Chiefs in this one. Everybody's got to eat. Give me Rashee Rice.
Everyone got to eat. Yeah, the Rashee Rice return game. I agree with you. I'll take the Chiefs here.
I saw this tweet earlier. What if Rashee Rice, like his first game back, everybody's posting the edits, everybody's got to eat. What if he has like the most empty 2 catches for 25 yards?
I'm like extremely concerned if they're just like not going to play him very much in his first game back and it's just going to cook everybody. I hope they don't do that.
No, though. They won't do that. Andy Reid's a fucking madman. They don't care.
Yeah.
Mahomes has been waiting over a year for this day.
Mahomes is gonna like punch Andy Reid if he like tries to like not play Rashee Rice much.
Rashee's getting fed in this one. 10 catches. Calling it right now. It will happen. All right. We'll move on. Actually, one more side note. I saw the Walter Picks accounts on TikTok and all them. Their website or model or whatever has Rashee Rice as the #1 fantasy receiver for the rest of the season. Number 1.
Whoa.
Above Puka, above Jefferson, Chase, everybody.
SN, yeah. Listen, I like
1.
Rashee Rice. I probably wouldn't put him at #1.
He might be top 5 fantasy.
I have a hard time disagreeing.
I wouldn't argue with you if you said that. But I think the Chiefs win, and in a big way, in this one. Dolphins at Browns. Browns are 2.5-point favorites. Good Lord. That Browns team we watched last weekend cannot be favorites in a game of football, right? That can't be real.
I think I'm going to take the Browns here simply because I think Judkins is just going to absolutely torch this.
You love
Miami
Judkins.
Defense.
You love him.
They cannot stop the run at all, and Judkins is very good. So, like, I don't know. Kamani Vidal just ran for like 130 yards on 18 carries against the Dolphins. So
I'll take the Fins. I'll go against you. 2.5. That's Tua. That's fine. Tua. A-Chain. He's got to do something. Waddle, maybe. Apparently, he's on the trade block. That's hilarious, isn't it?
That would be sweet.
That would be very nice. But the last game of the 1 o'clock slate here, Saints at Bears, my Chicago Bears. Bears are 4.5-point favorites at home. I'm smashing the Bears in this one. They're
gonna
lagging
say
right now.
that feels low.
Are you
And for
saying
that
something?
reason, I'll take the Saints.
Wow.
That feels like the Bears seem like they're pretty good, and the Saints don't at all in the games in Chicago.
Vegas hates the Bears. Hates them.
Maybe,
They
yeah.
were touchdown underdogs at kickoff against the Commanders. Touchdown underdogs. Never understood that.
It was in DC though, right?
It was in DC.
Maryland, whatever. Yeah, I guess, but like, yeah, that still feels egregious.
Now, this 4 o'clock slate is kind of loaded. I can't lie. I think it's got a lot of fun teams going at it. Giants at Broncos. Broncos are 7-point favorites at home against the very fun, all of a sudden, New York Giants. Everybody's favorite right now. Jackson Dart, Cam Scattaboo. Who do we like in this one?
I'll take the Broncos. I'm not a I don't like the Broncos in general, but it feels like the Giants are due to come to like a crashing halt after that one.
Yeah, the Giants are riding off a high right now that I think will die down. I hate the Broncos. Everybody knows that. Not a Bo Nix guy. But, man, I think they're a much better football team than the New York Giants. And I know that Eagles' defense is supposed to be good on paper. Jackson Dart is going into a different world against the Denver Broncos defense. I'll just say that. I think the Broncos win this one pretty easily. A fun one at 4 o'clock. Colts at Chargers. Chargers 1.5-point favorites on the road against the red-hot, Danny Dimes-led Indianapolis Colts.
They're favored. They're at home. Chargers. Yeah, I'm gonna take my guy Justin Herbert.
Let's go
to cover there.
I think Herbert's covering as well.
Hopefully he gets QJ back. Well, for my sake, hopefully not, but for the Chargers, hopefully they do.
Shout out Quentin Johnston.
Lad McConkey, I still hate you.
Why do you hate Lad McConkey?
Maybe it's misguided anger, but I hate somebody for Lad McConkey not producing.
I think you have to be mad at Keenan Allen for that one.
Keenan Allen probably, and Quentin Johnston for randomly becoming good.
Packers at Cardinals at 4:30. Packers are 6.5-point favorites against the Cardinals on the road. Vegas loves the Packers. They love
the Packers,
and I think for good reason. I think this team is really good. I think they're going to cover in this one. I not a big fan of the Cardinals. Don't know if they're going to have Marvin Harrison Jr. either in this one. Feels like a disaster game. Might not have Kyler Murray as well. Might be ugly.
I agree. The Cardinals just seem to me to just be ass, to put it bluntly. And I think that Packers defense might just abuse. Though the Packers defense hasn't looked as good as it should, but I still think it's very good.
That corner room in Green Bay is low-key barbecue chicken. It's not very good. But
I'll still take Green Bay to cover here.
In the Cardinals as well, Jonathan Gannon doesn't get enough credit for how shit his tenure has been. It's just been awful. I feel like he's
one of the worst coaches in football.
He's so bad. All-time bad vibes in Arizona right now. This is his signature win is against Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky. I love to say that because it's absolutely true. It's that monsoon game in Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett's last game as a Pittsburgh Steeler. There's your signature win, Jonathan Gannon. Last game of the 4:30 window.
Congrats.
This one's fun. Commanders at Cowboys. Commanders are 2.5-point favorites. That's going to be fun. CD back, GP on
is
a tear.
Is he like 100%? I've heard they're still not certain.
He's going to practice. I think this was like the report was last week. He's shooting for the Commanders game to get back. So like I'd assume
as a George Pickens fantasy owner, CD rest up. But this is a tough one. It feels like Cowboys are at home, but it feels like the Commanders are kind of due for a bounce back here. And, like, listen, I love Dak, and I love that Cowboys passing game, but, like, the defense is just so bad. And it feels like this is a game that Jayden Daniels is going to blow up because he really hasn't yet this year. And
Terry's coming back this week, too.
Kind of been waiting for it. Yeah. I'm going to take the Commanders.
I'm also going to take the Commanders. The Cowboys are really, really bad. Like, that offense is so fun to watch, no doubt. But, like, man, that defense is just, it rivals the Bengals for, like, you just look at that roster and you're like, holy ass. I don't know any other way to put it. Not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And the first time maybe we'll see Terry and Debo together producing highly, hopefully. Terry rested up after an injury. It's been the Commanders have not had all their guys so far, and I'm hoping that they hit their stride. They're a lot of fun to watch. Sunday night, this game's kind of ass, can't lie. This is kind of a stinker of a Sunday night. Not really super pumped up for this one. Falcons are just a weird team.
They're
They
so inconsistent.
play the Niners. Niners are 2.5-point favorites at home. I think Brock Purdy's coming back in this one, presumably. If not, it'll be Mac Jones. So I don't know if that moves the needle for you any.
Wow, that makes a huge difference.
It really does. It might for you. Purdy FC down $1 million.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I feel like the Niners are going to win. This feels like a game that Shanahan's just not going to lose.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the Falcons are that good. I'm not believing. Even after they beat the Bills, I'm not convinced. Give me the Niners. 2.5. Monday night doubleheader.
Yep.
Hate the Monday night doubleheader. It sucks.
Especially when the second game starts at 10 o'clock.
Yes,
like, what are we
that
doing?
fucking sucks. I hate that. Oh my god. But this game's a lot of fun. Buccaneers at Lions. Lions are 5.5-point favorites against the red-hot Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Smash that.
Let's say, does it change your opinion any if Evans, Godwin, and Igbuka are all out?
No, probably not.
I agree with you.
I'll take the Lions. There's only so much Baker Mayfield can do at this point. Like,
Lions are due for
and
a
the
bounce
Lions
back,
are a
too.
very, very, very good football team.
Due for a bounce back.
Yeah, they are.
And we have one more, the 10 p.m. game. We will all be staying up for this one. Texans at Seahawks. Seahawks are 3-point favorites at home. I will be taking Seattle in this one.
Seahawks are only 3-point favorites at home. It's the Texans. I'll take CJ Stroud and the Texans then. That feels weird. It feels like the Seahawks feel like a much better team than the Texans at this point.
They really do. I'm not going to look too much into it. I'm gonna trust Sam Darnold.
That's fair.
Throwing bombs.
That's fair.
To JSN. I'm gonna trust it. So those are our
guaranteed. Just because this game starts at 10, it's gonna be like absolute cinema, and they're gonna force me to stay up and watch it.
It'll go to like overtime. And it'll
be like 1:30 in the morning.
Yep, 1:30 in the morning, and we're watching CJ Stroud get sacked for the 11th time as Sam Darnold throws a third pick. It'll be fun. It'll be great, and I'm looking forward to it. Big night for our Pittsburgh Steelers. Hopefully they get a win against the Cincinnati Bengals. Move to 5-1 would be huge. Any parting thoughts before we go, Jack?
Keep the faith in our men in black and gold. I think this year could be different. Especially, and it can start with a win today, technically. As of right now, it's 12:30 on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
I think this game is weirdly pivotal. I think it will weirdly tell us a lot. Even if, we win this game in a blowout, I think it will tell us a lot about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We can't wait to break it down for you right here after the game. But thank you all for listening to a very special preview edition, Thursday Night Football preview edition of The Standard. We'll be back very soon. Same time, same place.